Hello, good evening. I am an evening person. Have always been an evening person. What about you? Are you a morning person or an evening person? Well, for some time in my life, during the days of schooling, well, because one has to get up early in the morning and go to school, and later years when I spent many years in sports and in weight training, I trained myself to be a morning person. But naturally, all my life, I've been an evening person. That's just the way it is. Well, that was an unplanned introduction. It is what it is. What are we going to do here today? We're back into familiar surroundings. If you're looking at your screen, you find the search box, there is the phrase Resveratrol benefits. That is what we're going to look at. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tabs open. I wish not to make this a very long video. I'll begin by saying that in the last few years, we are now in 2022, but there's a good chance that you would have heard the name of Resveratrol anytime after, let's say, 2015, 2016, and then more and more in the recent years. I'm not saying you wouldn't have heard of it before. Every chance that you would have, or you could have. But it has come more into the awareness of people as more and more time has gone by. Of course, what you could do is go to the Wikipedia article and you could read so much about it. That is not what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to sources and show you how even which source you pick does make a difference to the kind of information you come across. Now, maybe I could rearrange these tabs, which I should have done before I started this video. Now, I'm sorry, these fluctuations that you would see on your screen is not part of what I intended to do, but now it's arranged. Sorry about that. I'll show you the tabs that I have that I will consult. And of course, every tab I open, the link will be in the video description. So one is from Healthline, great website, simple, easy to understand information. This one I opened because of one of the recommendations I'll show you. When I looked for Resveratrol benefits, it said, these suggestions, Resveratrol benefits for men, and the other one, Resveratrol benefits for women. So I picked one site for either recommendation. T-Nation, the Pro-Testosterone benefits of Resveratrol. The other one I picked was this one, Dr. Sarah Brewer, and this was under the tab or the recommendation Resveratrol benefits for women. Then I also looked at drugs.com. Drugs.com, if you don't know already, would be a website where you can search for any drug, literally, by generic name, by brand name, by chemical name. So, but it has information like this as well, where you can look for resveratrol as the ingredient, and it gives you technical information and easy to understand information as well. I may not go through this very in depth because, well, I'll leave the link. Now, for instance, if you want to look at what other drugs will affect resveratrol, what are the possible side effects of resveratrol? Of course, you could go through this, and there is a professional, under professional resources, advanced reading. That's how you find every page on this website. There is a Mayo Clinic, and there you can find information that could be more geared towards users. But of course, this is under the tab Health Information, but if you were to look for medical professionals or for research, then you'll find information going more in depth in accord with that. And the last article, this one from PubMed Central and under the National Library of Medicine. And you'll find that the information here, of course, goes as in depth as it possibly needs to be. Of course, there would be references at the bottom and citations by other authors, other researchers. To be honest, I don't need to go into the other websites like drugs.com or the one on PubMed, because that is not the objective of this video. The objective of this video is to inform you of resveratrol as a supplement. So what I would advise is, well, if you stop watching the video now, just want to go to the links, you're most welcome to do that. But if you were to consider one link from the ones I would leave, I'd say this one, the first one, the one from Healthline, written by Carrie Ann Jennings on March 3, 2017. Let's get into it. 7 health benefits of resveratrol supplements. If you've heard that red wine can help lower cholesterol, chances are you've heard of resveratrol, the much hyped plant compound found in red wine. But beyond being a healthful part of red wine and other foods, resveratrol has health boosting potential in its own right. I'd encourage you to read this article. If you don't know already, what is resveratrol? Resveratrol is a plant compound that acts like an antioxidant. The top food sources include red wine, grapes, some berries, and peanuts. This is important. I'll tell you also why I say it's important. This compound tends to be concentrated mostly in the skins and seeds of grapes and berries. These parts of the grape are included in the fermentation of red wine, hence its particularly high concentration of resveratrol. Why this is important is because before uploading this video, I've already uploaded one with just a 2-minute video of the resveratrol supplement that I am using now. Now, I had done some research before picking that supplement. I went through the different prices, different brands, and the amount of resveratrol per serving, and I picked one which was the best in my eyes. Now, the same company puts out another supplement, and that's called grapeseed extract. Same brand, but there's a price difference. Resveratrol, to my knowledge, was almost, current pricing was almost 3 times the price of the grapeseed extract. So that leads me to believe that the resveratrol, which is extracted from the skin of grapes, is higher quality than the one extracted from the seeds of grapes. That is my understanding. I'm not a manufacturer, but that is my understanding based on that observation of pricing under the same brand. Now, good to read the summary. Resveratrol is an antioxidant-like compound found in red wine, berries, and peanuts. Much of the human research has used supplements that contain high levels of resveratrol. Now, these explanations which are given, I am going to only read the points because I want you to read the details. Resveratrol supplements may help lower blood pressure. If you're interested in that, please go ahead and read this and the links that they provide. 2, it has a positive effect on blood fats. Please do go through this. I'm sorry. This you'll find interesting. It lengthens lifespan in certain animals. That's why it's advertised as such by many, many manufacturers. In animal studies, it says in the summary. However, it's not clear if they would have a similar effect in humans. Well, worth taking a chance from what I know already. It protects the brain. It may increase insulin sensitivity. So resveratrol has been shown to have several benefits for diabetes, at least in animal studies. And they give you a lot of links. There are some subpoints here. May protect against oxidative stress, helps decrease inflammation. And I experienced this. I did a workout and I had some swelling and pain in my hamstrings, but more so in the left hamstring. Or actually, really was concentrated in the left side more. And I took 2 capsules of the supplement I'm using of resveratrol. The effect was almost immediate. I could feel the effect within minutes, literally minutes. That is the formulation, quality of formulation. But by morning, definitely, the inflammation had gone down. The pain was so much better. So I did not have to rely on an analgesic. I did not have to rely on those non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. I just took a supplement, and the kind of relief it gave is lasting. It felt like it addressed it at a core level. That is my experience. I've used both. I've used NSAIDs, and now I've used resveratrol, and the benefit from resveratrol for the inflammation, I definitely say the relief was superior. That is what I'm telling you. Point number 6, it may ease joint pain. Wow, great. Resveratrol may suppress cancer cells. I would want you to read more about why it's said. But this point looks important. It can have hormonal effects. Resveratrol may interfere with the way certain hormones are expressed, which may keep hormone-dependent cancers from spreading. There's a link which goes to PubMed, and I believe, well, I could open the link, but I already have a link open from PubMed. It could lead to the same article, and it does discuss this point in detail. Risks and concerns regarding resveratrol supplements. This would be heartening for anyone to read. No major risks have been revealed in studies that have used resveratrol supplements. Healthy people seem to tolerate them well. Great news. However, it should be noted that there aren't enough conclusive recommendations about how much resveratrol a person should take in order to get health benefits. And of course, how can there be one finding that fits everyone? It could be in relation to gender, whether you're a male or female. It could be body weight, it could be body constitution, it could be your other diet, your lifestyle, and so many other factors. But generally, this is a safe and beneficial supplement. Sorry. This is something I would like for you to pay attention to. It talks about enzymes, of course. That is, uh, well, why don't we read this? Resveratrol also blocks some enzymes that help clear certain compounds from the body. That means some medications could build up to unsafe levels. These include certain blood pressure medications, anxiety meds, and immunosuppressants. Well, in the opinion of some, it would be best if people can get off these medications or never get into them. Of course, when I say that, I mean in such a way where you have to decide, and your healthcare provider, the two of you have to get together and decide this. If you currently use medications, then you may want to check with a doctor before trying resveratrol. Lastly, it's widely debated how much resveratrol the body can actually use from supplements and other sources. Now, that is an important finding, or an important point. So, if you get resveratrol like 1000 milligram, is your body going to be able to absorb all of it and make good use of it, or a lot of it would be just eliminated? So that is another point. It says, however, researchers are studying ways of making resveratrol easier for the body to use. Now remember, this article, although it's highly recommended, it came out in 2017, and now we are in 2022. So more understanding has been added since then. So when you pick a supplement, of course, if you go to an online source like Amazon, there would be user reviews, there would be star ratings like 4 or 5, which is ideally what you would want to pick, looking at the price and the ratings and the reviews. So you find a healthy balance of price and ratings. But user reviews is a great way, from verified buyers, is a great way to find out which supplement and what is the dosage that that manufacturer is giving. And then you will have a good idea. And then you would have to look at what the label says, how much of the supplement to take. You cannot go beneath the minimum per serving. That's what the manufacturer has put in as the minimum. But suppose it's a serving of 350 milligrams or 250 milligrams, and you say, well, I tried 250 milligram and that was good, but 500 milligram is where I find it to be best in my case. So then that is what is ideal for you at the present time. If you take resveratrol continuously for a few years, you may find that the dosage that's perfect for you would fluctuate. Or if you need to continue to take it, you see all those factors, that is where personal judgment comes in. But as far as awareness and knowledge is concerned, this article has sufficient information to give you motivation to look into resveratrol as a supplement. Now, if we go to the next tab, the pro-testosterone benefits of resveratrol. So this came out in 2013. You'll say, oh, this is even older, but there's certain information which just continues to be good over many years. In fact, this kind of information, which came out in the last 9 or 10 years, would be even better if the article doesn't even need to be updated. So again, let's just take a brief look here. Point number 2, resveratrol is also a powerful anti-inflammatory and may even increase fat burning while preventing muscle catabolism. So, great point. Resveratrol is considered very safe with no known severe side effects. Now here, it mentions resveratrol, a natural phenol commonly found in red wine and cocoa, is a potent antioxidant that reportedly can increase lifespan, prevent cancer, and protect against heart disease, Alzheimer's, and diabetes. Resveratrol and inflammation. While there's debate surrounding the exact role of inflammation in muscle growth, one thing is for certain: excessive inflammation results in muscle degradation, pain, and serious metabolic issues. Managing inflammation and promoting a more anti-inflammatory environment is beneficial for health and muscle growth. You'll hear a lot about inflammation. And inflammation, though it sounds like a simple thing, the underlying reasons could be complex. Whether it's related to enzymes, it's related to hormones, it's related to some deficiency in your diet. Now, if it's related to a deficiency, a resveratrol could be a supplement that might remedy that. There are other supplements also which could address this issue, but this one supplement, resveratrol, is something to look into. It's been in the news and in the general public awareness for a few years now. Resveratrol in the testosterone estrogen battle. Testosterone is the king of anabolic hormones. In men, testosterone promotes muscle growth, bone health, improves your overall health and well-being. Conversely, estrogen and estradiol increase body fat, reduce muscle mass and strength, and can turn even King Leonidas into a weak, pudgy, mandropause middle-aged man. Well, I am not one of those who focuses only on one hormone. Of course, that's the whole intent, it seems like, of this particular web page or this website. And I'm not saying that that's not important. It's the distinguishing hormone for men, testosterone, but I'd look into, the way the human body works. Hormones also are interconnected. So, of course, I'd encourage, when you take resveratrol, I think the more and more research comes out. Of course, this is such a brief article that it only addresses it from the point of view of a man, but it will be found out that there are so many other benefits. You have to go by how you feel also. That's a very, very important indicator. How you feel after taking a supplement. You have to go by how you experience it. Your body tells you. And you have to be observant. Don't overdo it. You see, 2 capsules are good. Why not take 10? Not necessarily. 10 might harm you. 2 is your optimum dose, 500 mg, 600 mg total in a day. Stick with that. Okay, now this is geared more toward women. I'll just read the subheadings. Resveratrol and heart disease. It mentions something here. Resveratrol is one of the compounds thought to account for the so-called French paradox. Now that is something you might want to look into. What is that French paradox? Or I could read it from here. At a time when dietary saturated fats are believed to contribute to heart disease, researchers were astounded to find that France, with its high intake of fatty foods, had lower rates of fatal heart attacks than those in the US and the UK. That is the French paradox. And then it talks about red wine consumption. Now, of course, you have to keep in mind the Mediterranean effect, their diet, their lifestyle, their culture, general lifestyle, nutrition, the kind of soil they have. So many things go into it. So I don't believe that looking into one place holds the answer for all populations, but in today's world, if you find something like this, it's worth making a note. Uh, French paradox, what about their weather? Don't their weather conditions have an effect on the population? Could you apply the same to another country where the weather is totally different from how it is in France? Of course, that is going to be something to look into. But we do keep collecting evidence as time goes by, and we learn more. Resveratrol in blood pressure, resveratrol in diabetes, resveratrol in memory, weight loss, cancer. Now, of course, you'll find here for women certain types of cancer which are peculiar to women. But then there's some things that both men and women can benefit from. In the other article, we looked at a hormone, testosterone and estrogen. Here it's talking about different kinds of cancer. Resveratrol and longevity. This is from Italy. I have read about this before. What they call blue zones. So that is what it could be referring to. So I'm going to leave a link for this article, of course. I've not read this with as much interest as I would information for a man, but information is information, and you have to see what applies more to you. For me, of course, the one for a man is what I would be more interested in, but generally also about the nutrition. This page, I was laughing to myself. What is resveratrol? Resveratrol 354 trihydroxytranstilbene is a natural compound found in red grape skin, Japanese knotweed, peanuts, blueberries, and some other berries. I was thinking to myself, yeah, right. Next time somebody's having a glass of wine, they would be thinking, here I go with my trihydroxytranstilbene. And that is what I was laughing at. Nobody thinks in everyday life like this. There are some grapes in front of you. You just think of not even the skin or this or that. Just think of, here's a bunch of grapes that I'm going to enjoy. This might be interesting. Grapes grown in humid environments tend to have more resveratrol than grapes grown in more arid environments. The theory behind this phenomenon is that grapes grown in humid environments produce more resveratrol in order to fight damaging fungus. That is, grapes grown in arid environments do not need to produce as much resveratrol to survive. So, why is this important? When you pick a supplement, you could see where the grapes are sourced from. And that could affect the quality, the price, and in the end, your health. That's why these kind of things to know are important. Again, some of the information is repeated, but this website, as I was mentioning earlier, this is drugs.com, and here you would find information which on the other websites they tend not to have, or they leave a link. Who should not take resveratrol? Patients who have blood disorders, which can cause bleeding, should be monitored by a physician while taking this product. People undergoing surgery should stop taking resveratrol 2 weeks before the surgery and not take it for 2 weeks after the surgery and reduce the risk of bleeding. So, special consideration, and they mention that. Do not take resveratrol supplements or excessive amounts of natural foods containing resveratrol while pregnant or breastfeeding. There's a lack of research in this area to prove safety. Resveratrol should be avoided in children. Like, don't give wine, red wine, to children. Is that the same thinking? Well, I don't think people who were giving that advice had any idea there was a thing called resveratrol. They said, well, you're too young for wine. Grow up, for a few years, or you know what, even young children could be having wine in France, in Italy, so it could be part of their diet. Resveratrol has mild estrogenic activity, and until more is known, women with cancers and other conditions that are estrogen sensitive should seek medical advice before taking resveratrol. See, important information, which is easy to miss or not be mentioned in many other sources. So that's why this kind of source is also important. Resveratrol reduces the activity of enzymes involved with drug metabolism, but whether it has a significant effect in humans has not been studied. So if someone comes here with the notion that resveratrol is good, you don't need a prescription, it's a supplement, just go ahead and take it. But when you come to this website, you see there are some special considerations, which this website makes a point to mention. What are the possible side effects of resveratrol? Adverse effects of resveratrol in humans have not been reported. Long-term side effects are not known. A small and brief clinical trial conducted in 2011 in obese patients gave 150 mg per day of resveratrol, noted no adverse reactions. Great. There's under professional resources, there's advanced reading. There's related treatment guides. You could read about dietary supplementation. That's the nature of this website. Mayo Clinic, I like their website. There's different levels of information here. And this one, the one I have opened, is for general public. Red wine and resveratrol, good for your heart. Resveratrol might be a key ingredient that makes red wine heart healthy. Learn the facts and hype about red wine and how it affects the heart. So they have approached it from the point of view of red wine. And, well, let's read here. Red wine, in moderation, has long been thought of as heart healthy. The alcohol and certain substances in red wine, called antioxidants, may help prevent coronary artery disease, the condition that leads to heart attacks. Any links between red wine and fewer heart attacks aren't completely understood, but part of the benefit might be that antioxidants in red wine may increase levels of high-density lipoprotein, HDL, cholesterol, the good cholesterol, and protect against cholesterol buildup. This article, when did this come out? There is January 14, 2022. Is that right? So this website is very good. They do keep their information up to date. So even if this article had been written earlier, I'm not sure. It might have been published on January 14, 2022. But they do keep their information up to date. This is a very good website. Resveratrol in grapes, supplements, and other foods. They give you more details here. Of course, they're focused on red wine and grapes, but in the other website, read about cocoa, peanuts. Here, they're talking more in terms of alcohol, advising to drink in moderation or not at all. And then they go into where we're not talking about resveratrol, but we're talking about drinking too much and alcohol. And you may not be interested in that unless it's relevant to you. But generally a good article and a good website. We're over 35 minutes into this article, and now I have come to this article, Resveratrol, a double-edged sword in health benefits. And as I had told you, that I intend not to go deeply into this article because it is a long article. And it has information which, if you're not a professional, you have no reason to be interested in this. What are you going to do with knowing about the chemical composition and chemistry of resveratrol? Well, if you're taking a supplement, you don't need to know this. But it's here, the information is here. Unless you start manufacturing your own, then you might be interested. Then I can see how you would be interested in this. But here is where we get into the interesting part. Free radical scavenging and antioxidant effects. Resveratrol possesses many biological properties, but the best described resveratrol property is their capacity to act as a potent antioxidant. And this is where you'll find this mentioned anywhere you look for a supplement. The name resveratrol and the term antioxidant are found to be coexisting everywhere. That's the best known quality known about resveratrol. Anti-cancer effects. This is where it gets deeper into the kind of information some people would be very interested in. Like here, where it mentions 63, and right after that, it mentions globally many in vitro and animal-based studies have demonstrated such preventive anti-cancer activity in colon, cervical, prostate, breast, and lungs. And then so many references are given here. 50, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69. Each of those references would then have information about this one point. Cardioprotective effects. Now, depending on the kind of person you are, either you want to read in detail or you will just look at the French paradox and say, well, they drink red wine in moderation. Their hearts are better than those of those in the UK and US. That's a good enough observation for me. And that's why I recommended that article, the one which is in healthline.com. Neuroprotective effects, it's good for the brain. But if you want to read more about Alzheimer's, Huntington's, Parkinson's disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and alcohol-induced neurodegenerative disorders. See, there are, of course, if you know about alcohol, you would obviously know that alcohol in moderation is one thing, and in excess, it's a totally different thing. So alcohol by itself, again, the same thing, in moderation is a different thing, and excess, different. This I have experienced anti-inflammatory activity. Why it happened? This is familiar to me here, what it says. Stilbenoids, including resveratrol, are non-nitrogenous polyphenols with acidic and amphiphilic characters with anti-inflammatory activity. Many of their targets are occurring on cyclooxygenase COX, 5 lipoxygenase 5-LOX, and protein kinase B, which is associated with its ability to inhibit COX-1 and COX-2 activity along with transcription factors activity inhibition, directly involved in COX activity regulation. These are the same things that you would read, COX-1, COX-2 activity, that you would read when you research NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. So, ability to inhibit COX-1 and COX-2. I'm familiar with this language and these findings. But here, in my experience, taking Resveratrol, the effect was very different from how it feels when you take an NSAID. Very different. I felt the difference having taken the supplement. Antimicrobial activity, other biological activities, negative effects of resveratrol. This is where this article is different from the other articles. And you will see why if I go a little bit further, I think I already came across look at this. Isn't this interesting? I'm reading from here. It was documented that resveratrol behaved as an antioxidant during dark span and as a pro-oxidant during light span, possibly reflecting the putative changing ratio between pro and antioxidant activities in various organs during 24-hour cycle or postprandial oxidative bursts that occurred after a meal. This is amazing information. So what is the time that you take resveratrol? And it's recommended, let me mention this also, better than taking a supplement is to get it from its natural sources, the ones we read about: peanuts, berries, grapes, red wine. But then the timing also has an effect and makes perfect sense. There's so much you can learn. Side effects of resveratrol. And you'll find information here which, unless you're a professional or somebody is consulting with a professional and that professional has already information in mind for that patient, then this is the kind of information that a doctor or specialist would be able to impart to his patient, his or her patient. And this is again where it gets more in terms of drug interactions, who should avoid it, cytochrome P450, interaction with transporters, interaction with anticoagulant and antiplatelet drugs. So this is where it gets more in depth. Although it's brief, but the references, this article, as I can see, let's see how many references are here for this article. This article has, wow, 156 references. Wow. So if you wanted to read in detail, you could spend a whole month or more just on this one article. But if you were just interested in the supplement and you said, well, I've heard good things about resveratrol, its good effects, and I'm interested in taking this as a supplement, just read this one article. A few of the links you want to consult, you can do that, and you have all the information that you require. And as I'm nearing the 45-minute mark, I could say I have pretty much done the kind of research which, if I was making a decision, unless I had some special considerations, this is about all the research that a person, it's more than what a person needs to do. But just on this one subject, this is sufficient research, unless you have some special case where you need to look into why you need to be careful about resveratrol. Otherwise, for most people, in generally good health, men and women, resveratrol is a good thing to have. And that's where I would like to close the video, by just using that statement. I do recommend that you look into it as deeply as you need to, but this is a supplement that I and so many others who have been using it for years would recommend. I am interested because I personally benefited from it, and I thought it would be worth my time to make this video as a reminder and as a recommendation, and I'm glad I did. So now that I've spent 45 minutes on this subject, I'm very happy with what I've learned, what I've shared with you as I'm learning. I am satisfied. So thank you very much for your time, and goodbye, and we'll meet another time. Bye-bye.